Alright everybody, welcome back. After a day off, I'm back at it. I went to had to go out of town to the SEC championship game in Atlanta. I was looking at something there, it looks like a little nick. Anyways, but got back today and came up here and was working on how to get that top tank installed and mounted without gluing it to the other tank and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of come up with an idea because and I cut this piece right here. There's a bulkhead that it kind of goes into here. You can kind of see there that I wanted to mount right here anyways to you know, put a couple items, you know, probably the you know, the place to plug in my little hand terminal for the turbine, maybe even the shut-off valve. I don't know, we'll see. But I just wanted something back here because, you know, the tank's going to stop right about this area. You know, I can still see in there when I crank the turbine. Make sure nothing, you know, don't have any kind of fire or anything. It's always nice to be able to see that. But anyways, I want to do this anyways and mount something here, whether it be, you know, whatever I need to put there. You know, I could put the pumps or something there, or the solenoids there. Who knows? We'll see. But it's going to serve a dual purpose. For the other purpose is going to be the aft support for the top tank. And what I'm going to do is pretty much when the tank's sitting where it needs to be, it's pushed up against this, and then I'm going to just take and have a block on bottom and top that's glued to the tank. So when the tank goes in, it kind of pushes in on top and bottom and locks it in, so it can't go. The back won't move up and down. It's obviously not going to go any further back. And then that left the forward portion to secure. So what I come up with, and I took and I put in some carbon fiber. Didn't use resin. I wasn't wanting to do that. Basically doing like I did the vent exits, just beefing it up. I took some epoxy, thinned it down with some denatured alcohol to the point where it's pretty much like resin anyway, and took some fiberglass, and I'm just reinforcing this area. I kind of had an L piece. Well, it's shaped like an L because of this. I pushed it up to where it comes all the way this way, and then I took a little piece of wood. That's what the clamps are going to hold that carbon fiber up against the bottom portion of this, just to stiffen all that area up, because the forward mount is going to glue in there. It's going to kind of go underneath this, and that's going to be like a lip that it's going to glue to. And I have those laminated, and they're drying as well. It's just an L piece, and what's going to happen is when the tank's in, if I can do this without bumping anything, there we go. The L brackets basically come down and go this way. So you'll have an L bracket that looks like that on each side. In the front of the tank, they'll come down and go out, down and out both ways. And they're going to be glued to the tank. So when the tank slides in, locks in the back, those forward portions are going to be underneath this lip, and they're going to be glued in. So once the tank's in, the only way to remove it, is just to cut that joint loose of the ply. And if I ever have to do that, then it kind of makes it, well, how do you get it back in? Well, when you put it back in, after you cut it that first time, then you can just put a block in there and use like a screw to secure that in. So initially it'll be hard mounted, and then if I ever have to remove it for any reason, I'll just cut it, put the block in, and then it'll be removable all the time. So I may go ahead and do it now. Just go and put the block in there and just make it removable from the get-go. I don't know. The only reason why I would need to remove the tanks is if they busted or something like that, or they cracked. So hopefully that won't be the case. But anyway, that's what I'm working on right now. This stuff's it's a 20-minute epoxy. It's already tacky. So in a couple hours I'll be able to take everything off and start working on getting those mounts glued in to the tank, or glued onto the tank. I'm just going to roughen the area up, clean it with some acetone, and then use Hysol to attach them to the tank. So if it does ever happen to break loose, which I don't think it will, it'll still have the back support and of course the top of the canopy. The biggest thing is having it shift this way. You know what I mean? So I think with the back supported, even if the front pop loose, it sits right on that canopy. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to push the canopy off, because the canopy, you would have to shift aft and then up to get it out, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. So anyways, that's about it. I did get all this stuff refit. I had to glue in another block because the one that was in here, by the time I cut this groove a little further up, it basically it had cut all the wood out. So what I did was glued in another piece of wood that mirrors up with where that pin needs to stop, and I kind of sanded it to fit. So there is a wood block back in there now that supports that pin, so it's just not sitting against the skin material. So now the canopy will actually go all the way, and it's flush with this. Their cut was about that much, and now, so about 1/8 of an inch, I had to cut higher to get the canopy to seat all the way forward. So and that is it. Once that's in, that tank, the top tank's hard mounted. That's it until I get the turbine. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get that sequencer. Sometime this week, hopefully I get the new sequencer in. When I do that, I can go ahead and put the wings on it, pump up the air system, check it for leaks, go ahead and get the programming done, and everything as far as the gear and all that stuff. Oh, I did want to go in and put those little pieces in the tail to secure the rear end, or the back end portion of that elevators. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so the front portion of the stabilator, well, I don't know if you call it a stab, but the front portion of the elevator is secure with the 4mm bolt. There's a carbon rod here, and then there's one back here. But what the problem is, you can kind of see the gap already. But you can sit there and you can push it apart just by doing that. That it kind of flexes. So what I'm going to do is just put a hard piece of wood here, and there's already hardwood on here, and I'm just going to run a screw all the way through, and just come in through this side. Just cut a little hole to allow you to tighten and loosen. So it's going to be more like this area right here, and then it's actually going to have the block on the inside here against this. So when you tighten it, pulls that in, doesn't allow it to move. Probably won't be a problem, but just something I want to do for my personal mod. And it's kind of hard to see that plate in there. Yeah, the tank's pushing it down, but it just locks into that bulkhead right there. And then when everything's sitting in, I can just look right down through there and see the turbine, because the tank's going to be a little bit further forward. So anyways, that is about it. So not much to show you guys. Once I get all that stuff put in, I'll take some more pictures, and you might do another video. I did start the other thread on the Global Jet Club forum. It's on the top level airplane forum page for the F-14 with the pictures of mine. So that'll be where I'll be posting everything once I get the jet and everything. So hopefully it'll ship soon. Like I said, I'm expecting any day to hear that it's ready to ship. They just had to change the decals from color to subdued, so it shouldn't have been a huge deal to do. But that's it, and I'll talk to you guys later.